This video we're going to look at the 8,000 grit Ume. Now I've went through and I've put the 4,000 grit Ume scratches back on all of these knives. We've got the real steel Megladon in 14C28. We've got the Pacific Salt in H1. And I've got a Benchmade Serum in 154 cm. Now instead of using the whole bevel, I'm actually just going to start sharpening around 20 degrees and create a whole new bevel. Right now the upper portion is sharpened with the 6,000 grit bamboo scratches, but the apex, that white light shining, is set up with the 4,000 grit scratches. So you can see how hazy it is compared to the rest of the bevel. And this side, a little bit more of the bevel is sharpened with the 4,000 grit scratches. So it's not quite the same angle as the other side. We're going to take a look at this guy, which is the Nubatama Ume 8,000 grit. I used this stone very briefly the other night just to get a feel of how it worked. It seems to be, it's a splash and go stone. It's very, very smooth. It's got that speckle pattern like the 1K, the 2K, and that 400 grit Imanishi latte. I really like that look. So I'm going to start with the real steel Megladon 14C28 steel. I do remember this stone it feels hard, but it does have a softness to it and can be snow plowed. So like the 6,000 grit bamboo, you have to bring your A game, because if your angle is off, you're going to snow plow this stone. It's got a really smooth feel to it, very much like the 6K bamboo or 8K Norton Waterstone. Though this one feels just a little bit harder than those two. As you can see, I'm getting some metal removal right away, and this bevel is already shining up really nicely. Feedback on this stone is a little better than the 6K bamboo as well. I can feel the bevel on the stone better, and there's some audible feedback as well. I don't know if you heard those last few strokes, but I had my angle dropped too low. So I started riding the shoulder, and the stone let me know. I think this side's done. It's looking good. Just gonna do a few more really, really light strokes. Because we are gonna test the edges on this one. Next I got the Spyderco salt. It's the Pacific Salt in H1 steel. I tried to get some of the convexity out of this one. I'm not sure how well I did. I'll be able to tell once this bevel starts to shine up a little bit if I'm rounded near the apex, because it will not start taking the scratches. Yeah, I still got a little bit of convexity to it, but it's nowhere near as severe as it was on the 6,000 grit bamboo. Starting to dry out a little bit. Throw some more water on here. Wow, I just went through the napkin and caught my finger. Definitely got an edge on her. I can see a few scratches left over from the 4K right here in the choil area, so I'm just going to concentrate right there for a minute. And that part is still pretty rounded, so I'm not gonna go overboard with it. Just about finished with this one. I had to clean the stone off and my phone rang, so just gonna do a few more light back and forth passes, and then we're gonna move on to the Benchmade. So this is the Benchmade Serum, 154 cm steel. They did an okay job with this sharpening notch, but they really needed to bring it back a little bit more. It keeps wanting to dig into the stone. Plus it needs to go a little bit higher, so I'm going to have to alter that at some point. For right now it's okay, but definitely in the near future it's going to need to be increased. And it looks like this Ume is handling 154 cm much better than the 6K bamboo did. I had to do a little scrubbing on that stone to get it to start to shine up, and I've already got a pretty good luster going on. Matter of fact, we're almost done here. It's the real steel 14C28N. This one I spent the least amount of time on just because it accepts those stones so readily. It got a really nice luster really quickly. This is the Salt, Pacific Salt, Spyderco, an H1 steel. Still got a little convexity to it, especially back here in the base. I might actually hit this on the Edge Pro later and get that all straightened out. Just because those stones are so sharp, I can really get back in there and dig into it. Plus H1 steel doesn't really like to take a polish. And finally, the Benchmade Serum. We're not looking at the edge close to the spine, we're looking at the very apex and just a few millimeters behind it. I think you can see that demarcation line. We're looking at everything towards the apex. As I strop this will start to convex a little bit, but that's okay. It's got a really acute angle on it. I think this is actually more acute than 15 degrees. I think I sharpened this one back when I first got the EPA, and I laid the knife flat on the table, and I didn't know you were supposed to compensate for the flatness of the knife itself. So I sharpened it at 15 degrees with the stone laying on top of it. It's actually probably sharpened at 12, probably around 12 degrees. I'm going to strop these up and we'll take one more look at them. I'm just going to use my strop, just a piece of leather with some white compound on it. Get that cord out of your way so it's not so distracting. I actually got some stone grit still on this knife. Get that wiped off. I'm really going to drop the angle and try to blend that entire bevel together. Whoops. here's the real steel, 14C28. It's like I could have touched that bevel on the tip just a little bit more. So here's the Spyderco Pacific Salt. This looks like it took a pretty nice polish as well. It's a little bit cleaner, I think, than the 6000 grit last night that I tried. And finally we have the Benchmade. This definitely took the Ume less time to get polished than the 6K bamboo. So it's definitely got that going for it. It appears to be faster than the 6K bamboo, which is excellent for me. Finally, we're going to do a cut test. (14C28) just takes such a fantastic edge. Now this guy already bit me once. Actually, it bit me twice. But there it is. I still need to play a little more with this stone, figure out what steels it's best for, but so far I'm liking it with 154 cm. It's definitely an improvement over the bamboo. If you guys have any questions or comments, as always, leave them below. Thanks for watching.